Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you've ever felt like getting your kid out the door in the morning requires negotiating a complex treaty, you are absolutely not alone. Today, we're going to compassionately explore a trap that so many dedicated, incredibly exhausted parents fall into. We're looking at why giving our kids a sticker, a point, or a treat for every little thing works so incredibly fast in the moment, but often completely fails to build lasting responsibility. If ordinary family life is starting to feel like an endless series of business deals, well, you're in the right place. We're about to unpack the science of habits, natural reinforcement, and how you can safely transition away from handing out constant prizes.
Okay, picture this morning's scenario. It's going to sound very familiar. Your child puts one plate in the sink, or maybe they just put their shoes by the front door, or finish exactly 2 minutes of reading. And immediately, they look right at you and say, "Do I get a sticker for this?" Or maybe they're asking for a screen time or a sweet treat. Now, on the surface, the reward system seems to be working, right? I mean, they did the task. But here's the hidden risk. A child can become incredibly good at earning rewards without actually becoming more responsible when the reward goes away. The behavior happens, sure, but the reason for doing it stays completely outside the child. Instead of internalizing, "Hey, clearing my plate is just what I do after dinner," they're learning, "This is exactly what I do when someone pays me."
Now, we really need to validate our good intentions here. Mornings are totally chaotic, homework creates massive conflict, and let's be honest, handing out a sticker is definitely faster and easier than yelling. But we have to understand the crucial difference between temporary learning support and a permanent payment plan. A visible reward can make a confusing task so much easier for a child to grasp, and that kind of support is a wonderful, effective tool for building a new skill. The mistake isn't in using that support. The mistake happens when we allow that temporary bridge to become the permanent reason for every single behavior long after the child actually knows how to do the task.
What's genuinely fascinating here is the balanced scientific truth that comes from a massive 40-year meta-analysis. The research actually doesn't back up the idea that every single reward destroys motivation. It's not just a simple internal good, external bad situation. External incentives powerfully drive the quantity of a behavior. So if you offer a prize, yes, more toys will absolutely reach the toy bin tonight. But intrinsic motivation, that's what is required for the quality and the character behind the behavior. A prize alone isn't going to teach care or good judgment or persistence or the fundamental value of contributing to your family.
So why do constant rewards work so fast? Well, they make the deal completely obvious. The child doesn't really need to care about having clean floors or brushing your teeth. They just need to understand. Complete the task, get the prize. But that intense clarity can accidentally hide some very real problems. A child who needs repeated payment just to put on their shoes might not actually be refusing to be responsible. They might actually be losing track of the steps or feeling totally overwhelmed by the time pressure, or maybe they just need better visual cues in the hallway. If our only response is to up the prize, we might never solve the underlying issue, leaving a weak routine or a missing skill completely unaddressed. Let's walk through 6 really well-intentioned mistakes that we have all made when we're just too exhausted to argue. First up, paying for a routine the child has already mastered, which basically leaves the sticker as the cue rather than the environment itself. Second, rewarding the absolute smallest piece of a task forever, which accidentally teaches a kid to just give the bare minimum effort. Third, offering a reward before you've even given a clear, calm direction. Fourth, raising the reward offer when a child stalls. This literally teaches them that waiting actually improves their opening price. Fifth, relying on the reward so heavily that you fail to build a predictable physical routine. And finally, turning basic family contribution into a marketplace where kids start viewing shared family life as optional paid labor.
You might actually spot some of these signs of reward dependence in your own house right now. Do you hear, "What do I get?" before totally familiar everyday tasks? Does your child bargain over every single step? Or maybe they just do enough to collect a point and then completely stop? You might even notice parental dependence. This is where you feel terrified to ask your kid for anything unless you're holding a treat in your hand because you're scared the behavior will just vanish. If you're nodding along to this, please take a breath. This does not mean your child is lazy or spoiled. It simply means an external payment pattern has been practiced by the family. And the good news, what's been practiced can absolutely be reshaped.
Let's think about the classic after-school backpack drop to really illustrate this. The old approach is basically a pure negotiation. You announce a point, the child argues that throwing the backpack kinda near the hook is close enough, and then they stand there waiting for you to approve the transaction. The better approach relies on the environment. You state the sequence, Backpack on the hook, lunchbox on the counter. You offer a picture checklist or a watch reminder to help them out. You might even use points for a week just to get it started, but then you fade them out. You replace the points with specific feedback about their competence, highlighting the natural result, like saying, hey, look at that, now your things are ready for tomorrow.
So the crucial takeaway here is that to build lasting responsibility, we need a system to safely transition away from constant prizes without everything completely collapsing. I absolutely love these simple steps, known as the root plant. R stands for reduce the reward gradually. Please don't just yank away a long-standing sticker chart overnight. Move to occasional recognition. O is organize the environment with stable cues, like checklists and specific physical locations for things. The second O is offer choice and skill support, breaking big tasks down into manageable, teachable steps. And T is tie the task to its natural meaning, showing them exactly what their action actually improves in the real world.
Honestly, having the exact words to use is so helpful when you're making this transition. So, when your child inevitably demands a prize for a basic task that you know they already know how to do, you can calmly deliver this warm, connecting response. You do not need to earn something for every part of taking care of yourself. It's respectful, it's firm, and it gently but clearly removes the transaction from basic self-care.
And when you're first introducing a visual chart or a support system for a brand new skill, using this specific phrase sets a crystal clear expectation right from day one. By saying, this chart is here to help you learn the steps. We will not need it forever. You are telling your child that the reward is just a temporary bridge for learning. It's not a permanent wage they're going to collect for the rest of their childhood.
Now, what happens if they resist when there's no big prize on the line? Because they probably will. Well, instead of panicking and upping the payment, here is how you can hold your boundary while still being deeply supportive. You say, the job still needs to happen. Do you want help starting, or do you want to choose which part comes first? This is brilliant because it gives them a manageable sense of autonomy and control without compromising on the expectation itself.
We really want to prevent turning your family life into a total marketplace. And this phrase perfectly separates basic household belonging from actual paid work. It draws a clear, understandable line. By saying, these are your regular family jobs, you establish that basic contributions just happen because people live together and care for each other. Then, by pointing out extra jobs that can earn money, you still get to teach work ethic and financial literacy, but in a healthy, structured way.
Now, let's make sure we maintain our scientific balance here. We are definitely not saying all rewards are bad. In fact, they are absolutely appropriate and sometimes deeply necessary. They're fantastic for beginning a new, difficult behavior or practicing a routine that repeatedly fails. And more importantly, children with developmental, attention, communication, or learning differences may truly benefit from structured, individualized reinforcement plans for much longer periods. So please, never feel ashamed for using these tools when structured support is genuinely needed and professionally guided.
All right, ready to pivot? Let's move to this practical 7-day family reset timeline to see how we build this into real action. This gives you an immediate, low-stakes starting point for the week. Days 1 and 2, just observe. Notice your reward patterns without any self-judgment. Days 3 and 4, pick just one behavior your child already knows, stop increasing the prize, and add a stable cue, like a physical checklist. Days 5 and 6, start highlighting the natural results out loud, like, look, nobody had to rush today. And on day 7, do a quick review. If the behavior collapsed, don't just assume they need a bigger prize. Check if the routine just needs more teaching or clearer cues.
I'm going to leave you with this final thought to take away from our explainer today. Responsibility grows through repeated action, clear expectations, stable cues, and warm connection. A reward may begin the journey, it should not have to carry the child forever. Support your kids as they learn new and difficult things? Absolutely. But ultimately, give them the beautiful, lasting gift of outgrowing the need for constant payment. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this topic. Take that first step today. Choose one task, hold the expectation, and let the natural routines take root. Ask yourself, what is the one small task you're going to stop paying for tomorrow morning?